This is KATU News at 11 on your side.
Tonight we begin with developing news. We are still waiting to see whether a federal judge will block President Trump's deployment of National Guard members to Portland. The president ordered 200 Guard members into service. Portland and the state have sued, arguing the takeover is both unlawful and unwarranted. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Ray Casway. Just a few moments, we'll have more on what the White House is saying about these ongoing protests. But first, we have seen a much larger crowd of counter-protesters outside the facility tonight. We've also seen far more Portland police officers. Victor Park is live for us outside the facility. And Victor, how's it looking out there right now?
Hey, good evening. Right, yeah, it is a bit of a smaller crowd than what you and I saw about an hour ago. In fact, take a look and you'll see them. It is a mixture of protesters and counter-protesters who have been out here for a couple of hours. This as Portland police made 2 arrests tonight. Those 2 arrests were of some accused of blocking the street, but those 2 arrests also adding to the tension in what has been the largest crowd we've seen this week. Tensions continue to flare outside the Portland ICE facility Friday. For the first time this week, Portland police making announcements telling the crowd to clear the street. Minutes later, officers arrest 2 people, a self-described video blogger and a Trump supporter. Police say the 2 were arrested for blocking vehicles from passing. This is not something we have seen lately. Portland police officers with a skirmish line alongside federal agents right over there surrounding this entire area. All this happening a day after Portland police arrested 3 people, including conservative influencer Nicholas Sorter. Authorities charging him with disorderly conduct in connection with a fight outside the ICE building Thursday.
I just said, oh no, Nick's getting attacked. I also thought, of course he is, because that's what they do when they see somebody on the ground and they think that, oh, they're not one of us.
The idea that this place has turned into a war zone is utterly ridiculous, but to the extent that there is conflict here, most of that has been caused by the ICE agents instigating stuff.
Earlier this evening, one protester seen jumping over the federal property line. Minutes later, agents surrounding him, dropping him to the ground. An officer pepper sprays him before agents carry the protester away. Meanwhile, uncertainty among both sides, wondering if or when the National Guard troops will arrive. And back out here live, we reached out to the Department of Homeland Security asking about that pepper spray incident and that arrest. We have not heard back, but in the meantime, protests continue here with protesters and counter-protesters. For now, it's peaceful. We're live here in South Portland. I'm Victor Park, KATU News.
Victor, good story. Thanks for that. Earlier today, the White House once again weighed in on Portland, saying even more federal resources were on the way, in part because of what happened this week. Here's Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
What's been allowed to happen in Portland, and we saw disturbing video footage of this last night. This is not peaceful protesting. This is left-wing anarchy that has been destroying this great American city for years, leaving police officers battered, citizens terrorized, and business properties damaged.
Leavitt outlined why she says the federal takeover is necessary. She went through a list of issues she says federal officers have faced at the facility.
These radical left-wing lunatics have violently breached the ICE facility by using a stop sign as a battering ram, hurled explosives and other projectiles at law enforcement, repeatedly assault and dox officers, berate their law-abiding neighbors, and have even rolled out a guillotine in front of the ICE facility.
KATU News does not have images of any explosives being thrown at federal officers. However, prosecutors say Riley Freeman threw an incendiary device at officers, which detonated near them. He was charged in that case. KATU can confirm protesters did pull out a makeshift guillotine outside the ICE building on September 1st. This is video of that incident. As you can see, protesters lit something underneath the guillotine on fire. Federal court documents do include photos here of protesters using a stop sign and some other makeshift device to try and get into the ICE building. As for the doxing, the Department of Homeland Security released a photo of a flyer on September 26th. The flyer asked people to submit information on ICE agents, there it is, to an email. DHS says it was used to dox ICE officers. The White House also weighed in on that arrest of conservative influencer Nick Sorter.
Just last night, we saw an extremely troubling incident where conservative journalist Nick Sorter was captured on video being taken into custody by the Portland police after he was ambushed by Antifa and was defending himself from these assaults. But instead of arresting these violent mob members night after night after night who are ravaging this community, the police arrested a journalist who was there trying to document the chaos, and everyone in this room should be extremely concerned about that. The Department of Justice spoke with that journalist this morning, and they will be launching a full investigation into his arrest.
Portland police say Sorter was arrested along with 2 other people following some sort of disturbance. He's charged with disorderly conduct. Multnomah County's DA will decide whether to pursue charges by early next week. Finally, Levitt shared what the president has now ordered in response to that arrest.
I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy. There will also be an additional surge of federal resources to Portland immediately, including enhanced CBP and ICE resources. Law and order will prevail, and President Trump will make sure of it.
Earlier today, Portland Police Chief Bob Day addressed the arrest. He said his bureau would cooperate with any federal investigation, and he has confidence his officers followed the law.
You know, the irony here is we were condemned in 2020 for our approach towards the left, and now we're being condemned in 2025 for our approach to the right. So I would say we've landed right in the middle of the fairway. And this is the nature of the rule of law. This is the application, appropriate application of the rule of law, that it is equitable across the board. It is also not lost on me that we have a lot of Portlanders who for a lot of years have suggested that we have been over officious or targeting them or discriminatory in our approach to them, usually based upon housing status or race or whatever it might be. So this is not unfamiliar territory for me or not unfamiliar territory for the police.
Chief Day says the Bureau plans to release the body camera footage of Sorter's arrest in the future. Sorter was released from jail this morning and is due in court on Monday. KATU texted and called him but has not heard back. Meanwhile, Governor Tina Kotek and Portland Mayor Keith Wilson have repeatedly pushed back on the assertion the National Guard is needed to get this situation under control.
President Trump's inconceivable insistence that we need federal troops in Portland does not address the real concerns in our communities. We do not need or want federal troops in Oregon stoking fear, creating conflict, and frankly escalating a situation that is under control.
KATU is on your side with continuing coverage as this developing news unfolds. When we're not on the air, you can find all the new details on KATU.com or by downloading the KATU News app. It's free in your app store.